What's going on, everybody? This your boy King Gabe here.
And this is Queen Tina.
And we're here with a long-awaited Royal Talk. And today we're going to be talking about Lex Luthor's movie. Because I'm so Lex Luthor, I got a bald head. Oh, wait, hold on a second. No, that's not it. Oh, that's right, it was Spider-Man. Okay. Funny, I thought since we had Walking Phoenix Joker that we had a Lex Luthor movie somewhere out there. Okay. Long as it don't get Jesse Eisenberg to play him.
To play Lex Luthor if he has his own movie.
Yeah, don't cast him again. Smallville Superman was more, Lex Luthor was more convincing than him.
Since he has the bald head. Bald head.
Not just that, but he wasn't quite as crazy as Jesse.
Oh, he was.
Well, the way Jesse played him, yeah. Okay, so let's go over to Marvel, and like I mentioned in the little preview video, they're gonna be talking about Spider-Man, and as you all know, well, it's not today, but as this once this is being uploaded to you guys to view on my birthday, 34 years old, talking about Spider-Man. Yep. Funny thing is, Spider-Man actually was the first review that I actually did. Let me explain. Before Brownny Reactions, when I first got on YouTube, way back 2010, possibly a little after that, after I did all these music videos and stuff like that, there was a time I had discovered like Nostalgia Critic and Channel Awesome and Link Carr and all that, and I was like, ooh, I want to do like what they doing there. And the first review I called myself trying to do was the first Spider-Man live-action movie, which we're doing today, from Sam Raimi. And yeah, and let's just say it kind of not quite as good as what we're attempting here, because like I said, I didn't have notes or anything. I was just pretty much going off the top of my head. Pretty much like what I do when I go see the movies at the theater. But yeah, it was pretty much that. And yeah, I wanted to do skits and all that, like the way they do, you know, like especially like how Link Horror does, like with those Power Ranger skits and stuff. Yeah. At least I did get a little taste of that in Brownny Reaction there. So I did get some fun there. Yep. But I think I'm better suited that kind of work for comics there, yeah. Or as writing stuff outside of just talking about a movie there. So there's that, yeah. So let's get on right into this web slinger. I'm pretty sure it won't be too much longer before we get the Spider-Man No Way Home on Blu-ray and DVD. With all the three main Spider-Man that and then May will have Doctor Strange's movie. Things just got out of hand.
So far in the Marvel line, we have like a total of 9 Spider-Man movies.
Oh, really? Oh,
the reason why, because I count the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's the trilogy. There's the Sam Raimi trilogy, 2 Mark Webb's, and then you say Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse, and then
now MCU's movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got that. Now MCU has a Spider-Man trilogy.
Yes, total 9.
Yep, and I think 10 will come after the sequel to Spider-Verse.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, Spider-Verse is getting they got a sequel. They've been announcing. It hadn't become like big, but there are official teasers of it though.
They haven't made a release date yet.
I think it's supposed to be at the end of this year, from what I've heard. I think it's supposed to be the end of this year. So, if that's the case, then it probably won't be too much longer. We'll get an actual trailer at some point leading up to it.
Of the sequel to Spider-Verse?
Mm-hmm. I think it's supposed to be called Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, Across the Spider-Verse. Almost like Across the Web.
Yeah, maybe they're gonna be jumping around the dimensions like the way they did in Turtles Forever. Mm-hmm. Yep. So what better time to do this than now? Starting with the first Spider-Man movie, and in case you're wondering, I know we're not gonna go back to back with the sequels. I do plan for us to talk about the sequels, just not back to back though. Like all of a sudden we come up next week or so when we're talking about. Nah, we're gonna kind of pad it out there a little bit. That way we can do some other movies and also other stuff too. Like I mentioned before, with working on her comic there. Yeah, we gotta do other things there. At Jamaica Snuggie say, be patient. Respect. Oh boy.
Excuse me.
Oh, bless you.
Oh, excuse me.
That pollen's crazy around here, folks. I was sneezing off as soon as I got out of work, that thing got me sneezing when I got in my car. So, now I just thought about Andrew Garfield when he was sneezing in the movie. I'm Spider-Man. You know what? I'm Spider-Man. So, first ever live action Spider-Man movie. This actually makes history of superhero films, because as we all know, live action superhero films weren't always received so well, especially amongst the adult audience. Obviously kids, it was easy with kids, especially the animated series, stuff like that. But it was really hard to get them taken seriously by the adults most of the time. I'm not saying everyone was like that, but most of the time, yeah, it was, the amount of adults over the amount of kids. It was kind of like kid stuff. So, even when you had some PG-13 rating, I was like, okay, kid, y'all watch Spider-Man.
They just get away with it.
Something like that. All depend on the parents. Yeah, everybody different. Yeah. Not saying it to tell y'all how to run your house. I'm just stating the facts. But however, after they had bomb. Now they did do somewhat successful. They started off with the Batman Tim Burton film. Got dark, kind of brought the edginess of Frank Miller style back. And Tim Burton was real good at the dark side, but he went a little overboard after Batman Returns, and they got Joel Schumacher. Nice little lighthearted Forever. Then Batman and Robin sort of guilty pleasure, but this in the box office though, yeah. Box office didn't think so. And then, then you started bombing with movies like Steel and Phantom. Oh boy. And yeah, it just kind of started going downhill. What really, and on Marvel's end, what brought Marvel out of bankruptcy was the movie Blade. Wesley Snipes played Blade, and he was the hero to not only us, but the Marvel Studios.
Oh, the Blade trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for starting with that first movie. And because of that, they got out of bankruptcy, and they were able to give us X-Men in 2000. We are mutants. and after that succeeded, we got Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. My spider sense is tingling. Sam Raimi was very heavily inspired by the 90s animated Spider-Man series, and it shows in his movies. And I definitely applaud him for it, because trust me, I am a huge 90s Spider-Man animated series fan. And that was one thing that really got me hooked into his movie, especially the first one. You know, Spider-Man, Mary Jane, Green Goblin, all the goodies. I mean, I was like, it just oozed animated 90s series to me. I could just see the animated theme song playing in the movie in some of the scenes. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Oh! Oop. I made sure they had the Spider-Man ringtone. Would have matched this review. Yeah. I got Sailor Moon ringtone to kind of, after we do this to get me in the mood for illustrating Bubblina. Yeah, gotta be in the mood when I do illustrations and writings. You know how they say artists are eccentric. So another thing about this Spider-Man movie, as we go into talking about it, it's the Hallmark Spider-Man.
Because of some of the scenes, especially the heartfelt scenes and the romantic scenes.
Mm-hmm. That would be it. You nailed it.
Especially some scenes that you need to take some tissues and have a good cry for it.
Oh yeah.
Especially one scene involving Uncle Ben and Peter.
Oh yes, yeah, the death of Uncle Ben. Yep, that's definitely in this movie.
That was a tearjerker.
And it's not. And one thing, he took an extra mile, because, you know, in the anime series, it was just like it was a flashback. But here, you start off with Aunt May and Uncle Ben, and we actually get to see that for the very first time on the screen.
Live action.
Mm-hmm. This was really something back then to really see all this stuff with Spider-Man, and part of what, you know, shaped up, you know, superhero movies in general, along with, you know, of course, X-Men and Blade, but what we would get, especially with the MCU, you know, not just with Spider-Man, but with other heroes. And yep, so yeah, you definitely hit the nail on the mark with the why. Stop calling me New Orleans. I'm surprised I'm not getting a call from New York. And all of a sudden I answer, hello? What are you doing? If you're talking about Spider-Man, you better give me some pictures of Spider-Man. Give me those pictures tonight. I want pictures of Spider-Man. He's a thief, a crook, I do everything. Oh, here, Jameson, and you probably be like, wow, he put the speakerphone on? I didn't put the speaker on. Boy, he's pretty loud. He's pretty loud. I had a phone I had a landline phone like that years ago. The reception was so good you didn't even have to put it on speaker. You could hear the other person real clear, even if your ear wasn't to it. Yeah, because I remember me and my cousin Tiff used that phone when we was talking to Case. Now there's a three-way there for you. So anyway. So we start the movie, our sweet little Hallmark movie, and I tell you, the tissues that you get out, not on heartfelt scenes, and also little sweetheart scenes that's sort of like a little puppy love romance. I hunch down. Certain people criticize some of the dialogue and some of the romance scene. I'm like, dude. Does the thing said in Sweet Puppy Love have to be precise?
It just happens.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just the moment more so than the dialogue. You know, the fact, like say me just, hey,
sit,
hi, or like when he caught her. Just a little smile. So, blushing now. So anyway, we start off speaking son of a gun. Peter's talking about Mary Jane there, so narrating, of course. You want to know who I am? The story of my life is not for the faint of heart. if someone told you it was a happy little tale, I was a carefree guy, not a care in the world, somebody lied. And this story starts with a girl. Don't we all? Don't they always?
Now, Peter Parker almost reminded me of Charlie Brown.
Oh my! I had not thought about that.
It just came to me.
Oh really? Now somebody gonna be. Now after you just said that, somebody probably gonna put up Charlie Brown and Spider-Man.
Well, talking about the first Spider-Man movie, the way he acts reminds me of Charlie Brown.
Yeah, that's and I'm thinking about it, that I actually can see that, because I mean you think about Spider-Man in general.
Yeah.
He especially going by the '90s in these movies. Jameson on his case. People, some people aren't on his side, but then you got people who are thinking what the Bugle says about him and stuff like that. And in Charlie Brown's case, a lot of stuff going wrong for him. Yeah, that's actually kind of makes sense there. And again, and we definitely can compare both of them to how hard it can be for some Christians. Yeah, you're trying to do the right thing, follow God's word, live like Jesus, and folks just really be getting on your case and making it hard for you and stuff like that. Yes. Well, hey, I think Spider-Man definitely a superhero example of Christian life at times. and now, since you brought this up, Charlie Brown is definitely an example, and ironic, Charlie Brown ain't scared to talk about God. Oh, trust me. Hey, do you know where this is found in the Bible?
I think the creator of Charlie Brown was Christian at that point. I think he was.
Hopefully he still is there, yes.
I know he's no longer living.
Oh, okay, well.
Yes.
Well, we know he probably got the angels laughing at Charlie Brown comics in heaven.
Yes. And he might have met Mr. Rogers.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. That'd be an interesting meet.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you. I just always wanted to tell you I love your Charlie Brown stories. So wonderful. Yeah. Yep. So anyway, as Peter narrates, one thing he mentions is he's trying to catch the bus at the first of the movie, and if this bus driver existed in the real world and the school board got wind of what he was doing, he'd be fired. Or either rode up and close to losing his job. Stop the bus! Stop the bus!
If they find out, or a kid or a parent reported it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, the kid will tell about it, and then the parent will report it.
Right. Yeah. So similar like when Penny had that thing with the football in one of the episodes of Proud Family. Yeah. So, and it turns out it's really surprising that even the nerds don't want Peter near them. What are they, the nerds from Shrek 3?
Just neglecting him and make fun of him, as well as somewhat abusing him.
Right. It's not even. It's
almost like prejudice.
The jocks and some of the nerds.
Now that's total prejudice.
Everybody come to the party except for Peter. Yeah. So then it turns out they're taking a field trip to this university. Pretty much another nod to the 90s. You're going to hear me say this a lot because there's so much that's pulled from the 90s cartoon that, yes, I think I believe before Sam Raimi started writing this movie, he just took 1 week and binge watched all the Spider-Man episodes. Spider-Man's. Okay, right there. Take notes here and write that there.
I thought it was a museum.
Oh, it's a museum. Oh, okay. Well, actually, I think it was Did they say it was a museum?
I think they stated they're at a museum.
Oh, okay. See, that's why it's two of us watching it, guys. Because I was thinking, I've been watching.
I think the university was across the street from the museum.
Oh, because I'm thinking, because yeah, I thought I saw something look like a university setup, and Harry was like, which we're getting into that. But yeah, Harry was talking about these people don't drive up to these schools in their robes. Yeah, so that's what had me thinking that there. Well, I could say,
or it could be a museum inside the university. You never know. Sometimes universities have museums.
It's a possibility, yeah. Yeah. Well, like I say, just like with just like with writing story, always have another set of eyes watch it with you. Because she's caught a lot of stuff in movies that I miss, and in movies, it'd be a movie I may have been to watch like more than once, and then and I'll be showing it to her. It's like, hey, look at that there. Like, I didn't know about that. Yeah, she got a different set of eyes than I do in watching movies. Like Superman's X-ray vision. So anyway, we get to the museum or university with a museum. One of those things, And Harry comes in with his father, Willem Dafoe, the best Green Goblin we ever got. That's one thing in mentioning that. There's a lot of good casting choices, which I think also affected a lot of, how things were done in MCU movies there. The casting is really good. Yeah. Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, Kristen Dunst as Mary Jane. And I know some of y'all probably don't think of her as Mary Jane as, but like I said, I didn't have a problem with her there. I don't have a problem with her. Yeah, pretty much. Now I will say it is a little different from the 90s, but then again you got to consider these. It's a trilogy of movies. Unlike the series was able to probably really kind of flesh her out more so than the trilogy of movies. I'm not saying the movies couldn't do that, but yeah, obviously you're going to get more out of every character in a TV series as opposed to a movie. All depending on how it's written there. So there's that. But other than that, I didn't have no problem with her. And speaking of that, a lot of people got really ticked off when Harry started to, speak to MJ in a flirty way, even though, he knows Peter likes her. Let me clear something up for you people. It clearly states in one of the scenes, Harry's like, hey, aren't you going to go talk to her, Peter?
And Peter tried to be his wingman.
No, you talk to her. Well, actually, Harry was trying to urge Peter to talk to MJ, but yeah, Peter was like, you talk to her. Because he's shy. Even shyer than Yugi. Well, I guess more like Yugi in the manga. So Harry's like, okay. Yeah, and that was that. So after that, so then a little bit later, Peter actually takes some of MJ's pictures. Hey, can I get your picture? I need one with a student in it. Okay. Even though he takes more than one, but could you blame him?
And he was so distracted that a spider was on his hand, and I think he didn't feel the spider until it bit him. And he started to react to the spider bite after he got bit by it, and then the spider just went away.
Yeah, I think that's Cinema Sin sort of criticized the movie about that. Like, how is it that he can't feel? How is it in the world that Tobey Maguire can't feel this little spider on his hand? Well, Cinema Sins, maybe when you're a guy in high school and you got your attention on a pretty girl taking her pictures and a little spot, don't you think that maybe with your mind so focused on how pretty this girl is, that spider's legs might go by unnoticed until the bite comes, because this is where all of your focus is. Hi.
If I feel an insect crawling on me, I will feel it right away.
Well, that's true. Well, I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is, and he could have felt the spider, but maybe, like I say, his mind was on MJ. Yeah, that's what I'm pointing out. Sometimes, have you ever like been focused on something so much to the point where all of a sudden at the last minute you know, like, what was that?
Like if you daydream and you realize you left the oven on.
Yes,
and something burning.
Exactly. Yes, like SpongeBob when he almost burnt the kitchen in the Krusty Krab.
Uh-oh.
SpongeBob, you're burning all my food. So yeah, so that can happen. And then of course we go to Oscorp here. Very interesting design choice for the building.
It's either a CGI building or a real building with Oscorp being photoshopped on there.
Could be. I would say the Photoshop probably.
Yes.
Sort of like similar to what they did when they the command center for Power Rangers, when they photoshopped the command center's building design behind Vastes rocks.
Yes. Even though the actual building is some type of Jewish synagogue, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's. I have to check Lynn Carl's video again because he stated exactly what it. It was. I think he did say it was something to do with Jewish there.
Yeah.
But
or
yeah.
a Jewish temple.
I don't think it was a temple though. Yeah, I would think a temple would be slightly a little different than that there. I don't think a temple would have a tube for you to go in after teleporting. So at Oscorp, Norman is pretty much showing the glider, which will later become, the glider for the Green Goblin, and a flight suit with it. And
look like we got a taste of foreshadowing.
Yeah, and let's just say the way the flight suit looked is sort of on the guy. It sort of made the guy in the flight suit look like an Iron Man version of RoboCop.
Oh, he does.
Almost like since RoboCop came out in the '80s, you could say this is another evolution of it for early 2000.
Sure.
And then we get the other RoboCop movie, I think, like in 2014.
Oh yeah, the reboot.
Yeah.
I think it didn't do too well. Talk about the reboot. I don't think it has a sequel.
Oh yeah. Oh.
The reboot.
Yeah, I gotta check it out. I actually have not seen. I've seen like clips of it along with the old movie. Yeah, I definitely want to check out the RoboCop movies there. Both the old and the new there. Yeah, they interest me. So along with the flight suit and the glider, he's also having to show the board of directors this pretty much a super soldier serum to perform. They call it performance enhancers, but yeah, it's super soldier serum. Like they've been doing this thing before the MCU, testing us around stuff like that in different forms. As one thing, as a matter of fact, Captain America was even mentioned in the Spider-Man animated series, and it's been known that people have been trying to duplicate this serum for years after Cap.
It wouldn't surprise me if people make their own super soldier serum in real life. In order to have more muscle in their bodies.
Probably, if they do, I would imagine they probably would do like what we see in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where where they make it where put in a little drink, like Popeye with his spinach. Yeah. So yeah, it turns out but it turns out that the look like they're having trouble with the serum, as Dr. Storm states about it causing aggression and stuff. Back to formula. Dr. Osborn.
And they did state that they would cut their funding if it's still not successful. They will cut their funding.
Right, they were looking for human trials. Yeah. So yeah, he's kind of as Sugar Mama say, kind of skating on thin ice there with the board of directors there, and this is what's kind of leading to what would happen later in the movie with Oscorp there. While that's going on, we get to meet the classic Uncle Ben and Aunt May. And I don't have anything against what we've gotten in later movies. So, yep, we sort of had something similar to this with Andrew Garfield's movie. MCU wanted to do a young Aunt May. So, you could say she's kind of middle-aged, but just looks young for her age there.
I guess the MCU Spider-Man is like a prequel to see his entire life in high school. Is not a complete prequel, but feels like one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because of his life in high school.
Oh, that.
And especially throughout his entire life in high school.
And also in the MCU.
Yes.
And also in the other movies. And with the Aunt May in those movies, one thing Kevin Feige was like, he didn't have nothing against, what the comics had. Aunt May was always an elderly woman for years in Spider-Man history, as one of the reasons why one of the guys at work is all like, that Aunt May is too young. Aunt May is supposed to be an old lady. Well, as I tried to explain to him, I said, I get it. I know, I grew up with the same thing, man, in the 90s animated series. But let's think about it from Kevin Feige's point of view. He's looking at the fact that, okay, this is supposed to be this boy's aunt. How old would his parents be if Aunt May is practically old enough to be his grandma? I'm just saying. I mean, and they sort of tried to fix that with Andrew Garfield, make it like kind of logical that he would have an aunt that would be kind of close to that age, like a grandma there, because his parents, they were sort of up there a little bit. But yeah, and you could say that maybe Uncle Ben and Aunt May were older than his parents. But yeah, like I said, just trying to look at it from a different perspective, my man, and enjoy the movie. But now he ain't gonna have that though. So anyway, with our classic Aunt May and Uncle Ben. They definitely remind me of my granny and Big Papa. When first time I saw this movie, that's the first thing came to my mind. If I'm Spider-Man, that would be my granny and Big Papa. They even kind of talk like them a little bit, especially Uncle Ben there. My God, even the computers need analysts these days. Then, of course, Peter comes home and he's feeling a little woozy from the spider bite there. And meanwhile, Norman decides to make himself a human trials, or like Sherman did with his formula. Shelley, been a guinea pig long enough. Time to see if this stuff really works.
And I know Dr. Strom tried to stop him, but Osborn still wanted to go through with this. And let's just say the results didn't turn out too good.
Oh yeah,
he was more aggressive, so aggressive that he just threw Dr. Strom and killed him.
Back to formula.
Now it made him act like a monster before he became the actual monster, which is known as the Green Goblin.
Well, that's why people say he actually is the best live action Green Goblin, because when they showed him in No Way Home, admittedly, I did want to see more of him with the costume on than what we got in the movie, but he did such a good job doing the Green Goblin that even without his costume in the climax, you still knew that was Green Goblin when he was doing the facial expressions and the voice and everything. Like Peter kept punching him.
Like, stop.
Yeah, it's like the Joker. I'm the Green Goblin. So Peter then starts experiencing some changes. Got muscles, which is actually his head on a CGI'd on a muscular body. yeah. I didn't know that at first, but I found out later.
And I know years later they do the reverse effect in Captain America.
Yeah, to make him look skinny, and then when he came out muscular, that was really him.
Yes.
Yeah, but what they did, I think they Photoshop shranked his actual body.
Yes. To make it look skinny.
Yeah, sort of like and then they did the same with making Nick Fury and Phil Coulson look younger in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I know they want to put the actor on a really strict diet that would make him so anorexic.
Oh no!
Because of time.
Nah, I don't need to do that. Then plus that would make him sick.
And he had to build the muscle back again.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen there.
And I know it's impossible, especially with film production.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they do have time schedules
Mm-hmm.
of certain scenes they need.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there's some of the other changes. You know, he doesn't need his glasses. Huh. Of course, I need mine, but I guess if I got bit by that spider, I could take mine off.
I know, no contacts.
Nope. Although MJ did make a comment about that, she thought he was wearing contacts, but he just didn't need his glasses.
Yeah.
The Andrew Garfield Spider-Man actually, I don't know if he wore that after he got his spider powers, but I know when he first started off before the spider bit Andrew Garfield, he was wearing contacts. And then when he found his father's stuff, he took him out to wear his father's glasses. Yeah, and he was looking through his dad's stuff there. But yeah, he had contacts. Yeah. So yeah, then there's the stuff sticking to him. The spider sense, which allows him to catch MJ.
As well as her lunch.
And that actually really happened too. I don't know how many times they rehearsed, but he literally was catching that stuff on the tray.
He did, and that was impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what I heard. That's what I heard stated there. Wow, great reflexes.
I find that a miracle.
Yep. And then of course, this is one thing Sam Raimi did different that was never in Spider-Man history, and not even in movies that came after this. His trilogy is the only movie where you see him with organic webbing. I actually liked that idea when I first saw it. I did, and I still do. The only thing that it kind of has a disadvantage with that is when the third movie comes along, he gets the black suit symbiote. Because, you know, seeing as how originally in Spider-Man lore he has web shooters, the symbiote had webbing of his own. He didn't need the web shooters at all when he had the black suit there. But it kind of just came off as it just enhances me.
Oh, it's just organic.
Yeah, so
It just went right through him. We did see his DNA change.
Oh yeah, with the fingers and stuff like that.
Yes.
Duh.
His entire DNA changed.
Oh yeah, and the little feelers on his fingers. That's how he was able to stick to stuff.
Yes.
And And the webbing kind of gets him in trouble with Flash Thompson, who wants to fight him there.
Let's just say he looked like he's around his 30s. Talking about the guy who played Flash Thompson.
They tried to dress him up as a teenager. Dude, Tobey Maguire was looking more like a teenager than you.
Ouch. It looked like he repeated a few grades.
Like a lot of grades. No wonder he's so mad. I think Double Toasted made a joke about that, like, Peter looking at him like, man, are you serious? Like, so, after using his spider sense to win the fight, he finds he's able to climb up the walls and stuff and jump from building to building, sort of like Superman before Superman was able to fly. They just had him jumping really high. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And then he tries his webbing in order to swing across. There's a funny part of him going, "Go web, fly, up and away web, Shazam, go."
Shazam.
Yeah, wrong universe, buddy. Wrong universe. So, yeah, then, so of course with the, he does try to do a swing. He does get across, but he has trouble landing. Watch out for that billboard. Then we also have this night, the following night, him and MJ having a talk about their future after we hear her parents arguing, of course, which, yeah, that is a thing in Spider-Man lore. Yeah, which kind of, compared to the cartoon, this kind of makes her dad seem a little light, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it just comes off as a, arguing couple. In the cartoon, the way they show MJ's dad, he seemed kind of abusive there.
Talking about the live action?
Well, in the cartoon.
Oh, he was abusive.
Yeah, he seemed like he was awake because, Mary Jane and her mother were terrified of this guy.
They were terrified at him?
Mm-hmm. When they, that episode when she was in that mortal cult now.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I am your father."
I know it's in the live action movie they didn't show Mary Jane's mother. It was just mentioned, but she wasn't seen. We just see her father. Who
sort of looks like a Diddy LeVito ripoff. A little bit.
I know deep down inside she has resentment towards her father, which is understandable.
Yeah.
That she just want to avoid him at all costs to save herself.
Pretty much, yeah, considering how they've come up there. Yep. So, apparently in their talk about their future, MJ, she wants to move into the city and get into acting and stuff like that, perform on stage. Peter also wants to move into the city and, maybe take up photography while paying his way through school. And no, that's not Jameson because it didn't come from New York. Spider-Man, I need those pictures! We're getting to your scene, J.K. Simmons. Wait! So Pete, turns out later, Peter decides to use his powers, along with designing a costume, in order to get into some wrestling matches and get money for a car and impress Mary Jane. Uncle Ben becomes a little suspicious about his behavior and tries to have a man-to-man talk with Peter, but he gets a little sensitive there, causing him to lash out by accident there. I know I'm not your father. Stop pretending to be! Whoa.
I think some teenagers have that moment with their parents or grandparents or any other relative. They snap at them.
That's true.
It could happen to anyone.
Yeah, I was just talking about how sometimes I had that little... Yep, I was a teenager too. Yes. Had that little rage. Mom! You just don't understand. Yeah. Been there.
Yeah, and feel like you've been treated like they've been treating you like a child most of your life, even though even though you're a teenager, they just want you to stop.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. So, in this wrestling match, he's introduced as the Human Spider. Well, actually, he wants to be introduced as the Human Spider, but he's like, the Human. That's all you got, man. That sucks. The Amazing Spider-Man. I'm the Human Spider. I don't give. No, you got my name wrong.
Let's just say that scene made me laugh. It made me laugh so hard because back in the day when I had my own copy, I kept on rewinding it and laugh at it because the costume.
He's already a little critic.
Because the way the costume looked and how it was presented. I kept on rewinding it.
I'm the Human Spider. about as funny as Terry McGinnis saying, "You know this kid?" He said his name's Beyonce. You have any idea how silly that sounded? He said his name is Beyonce. How do you say that with a straight face? So, if you think that's funny, wait till you see who he then you'll face Bonesaw, who will make you step into a Slim Jim.
Oh, he was huge.
Oh yeah, Slim Jim. Big explosion. Just imagine if in the wrestling match he took out some Slim Jim.
What's that? He gotta give his Slim Jims away to the audience?
Maybe. And then he might even make a joke. Or he could even make a joke like, I'm gonna snap this little Slim Jim. Calling Peter Parker a Slim Jim. Ooh. Yeah. So, then Peter, of course, wins the match. But not the money.
Look like he been cheated.
And the promoter says, I missed the part where that's my problem. But then a robber shows up, takes all the money. Why did you let him get away? I missed the part where that's my problem. But there's one problem with the little revenge. It results in the robber taking Uncle Ben's car and killing him. Ouch. Yep. So of course Peter then takes revenge to go after the robber. And it results in it results in the guy tripping over a pipe and falling to his death, similar to Joker in Tim Burton Batman.
Except it's with a pipe.
Yeah. In Joker's case, it was the bat cable on the gargoyle. Batman was actually trying to stop him, but the gargoyle broke and the weight pulled Joker down.
And he went into a bath of chemical acid.
Well, no, actually, he already been in the chemical acid. No, he just fell to his death with that in the last scene there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Talk about Joker?
Yeah, he already had been in the chemical bath at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Honey, you'll never believe what happened to me. So, and let's just say when Peter tells Aunt May about the death of Uncle Ben, it's sort of the reaction, which you probably know how Aunt May would take it there.
Because she was closer to him.
Mm-hmm.
It could happen to anyone who has a spouse.
It sort of made me think of when a death is announced in the Bible, the way, you didn't really hear what they were saying, and oh God, no.
Or any other movie and TV show.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, after a brief bit of mourning, we cut to days later. Also, Aerospace blows up thanks to Green Goblin. And it's graduation, and Peter mourns Uncle Ben after the graduation and thinks of what Uncle Ben said. With great power comes great responsibility.
I know he also had regrets too of what he said.
Yes, there was that, yes.
He did tear it up.
Yeah.
I think at the same time he was sad and a little disappointed about what he had done, but he was still paying respect to Uncle Ben at the same time.
Right.
He wasn't a mix of emotions at that time.
Sort of like Terry McGinnis. He mentioned that in Batman Beyond before his dad died. Yeah. So, yep. So, from as hate to use this character, but as scars say, from the ashes of the tragedy, Spider-Man arises. Dun, 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 with the official costume, which makes me want to get an icy.
Because of the red and blue.
And the shade of red and blue that it is.
All dark.
Yeah, it's the icy Spider-Man. Now get Spider-Man on your icy cup now. And then we get J.K. Simmons as Jameson. That'd be funny if my phone rang at that point. It's a crap. Do it. Hey, I want a picture of Spider-Man. You don't want to be famous? I'll make him infamous.
I think he was the best Jonah Jameson that Marvel ever had.
Yeah, especially for their live-action movies. A lot of people after him have definitely mimicked him, even like in Avengers World Mightiest Heroes when they introduced Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And they brought Jonah Jameson. It wasn't J.K. Simmons, but the guy playing him, he was doing an imitation of J.K. Simmons. Mm-hmm.
I know Jameson was mentioned in The Amazing Spider-Man, well, the second one, but he wasn't seen.
Yeah. There was a lot of other stuff they were putting in there. That's kind of why.
At least he made a return in the first Spider-Man reboot.
Oh yeah.
He made a return.
Yeah, they had to have their legend. And meanwhile, Norman gets bought out from his own company, similar to what the Big Five did to Seto Kaiba. And much like how Kaiba fought to get his company back, except Seto Kaiba didn't turn into a Green Goblin monster, though.
Imagine if he did in another universe, taking revenge on the Big Five.
I guess he'd be like Norman. Although, funny, I would imagine him, if he was going to do something like that, dressing up like maybe a combination between Kaiba Man and Blue Eyes White Dragon.
And Yugi will be and make Yugi as Spider-Man to fight.
Oh, I guess Teo would be his MJ.
Yeah, to fight Kaiba as the Green Goblin.
Out am I? Yeah. So this, of course, leads to Green Goblin appearing to kill the board of directors and endanger everybody at the Vanity Fair.
I think it was some type of World's Fair.
Oh, World Fair, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. And let's just say the Green Goblin costume. There were some people that had a problem with it there. And they actually were going to do something similar to the cartoon where it would be more fleshy, kind of, like latex, stuff like that, the mask and stuff. But what they went with, for live action, it actually did pretty good there. And it was terrifying. Hello, my dear.
Let's just say the balloons at the parade looked more cartoony mixed with CGI. I know they were not real. Well, they look more cartoony.
It did. That's one of the things that added to the 90s feel.
Yes.
Really gives it that 90s, early 2000 vibe for the movie. Especially for the fight scene, yeah.
They also remind me of the balloons from the Thanksgiving Day parade.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And then, of course, the fight scene was really impressive there. Impressive! Spider-Man then, at the end of it, saves MJ, really impressing her. And Green Goblin tells Norman about what he's done, and after that, they attack the Bugle looking for Spider-Man. Jameson! Who's the photographer that takes the pictures of Spider-Man? I don't know, this stuff comes in the mail! You're lying! Gotta give it to Jameson for protecting his employees there. Especially he protected Peter too, and Peter was, freelance, actually. He wasn't really, like, officially employed at this point, but he actually, because he didn't rat him out.
It proves to you that Jameson does have a heart.
Just like in the cartoon when he wanted to protect, when he was trying to prove Robinson being innocent of a crime.
And he became his own detective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was like, and he even saved Peter from the kingpin once there. Yeah, even though he was mad at Peter, he still came to his aid, paid a lot of money for Matt Murdock to get him out. But he didn't want nobody to tell Peter he did that. I have an image to keep up. Yeah. So Green Goblin tries to get Spider-Man to join him, and also tells him, think about it. Next night, Spider-Man fights off some thugs trying to either rob or rape Mary Jane. And I noticed Spider-Man forgot to put his mask on.
And that's why he hid himself from Mary Jane in order for him to put the mask on.
It looked like he was trying to also kind of... You remember when Andrew Garfield got his mask taken off in one scene?
Yeah.
And when it took off, the spider sense kind of woke him up. And he was fighting all the cops with his head down.
Yeah.
But he only revealed himself to Gwen Stacy's dad.
Oh.
Right, after he knocked everybody else out.
Well, they were in a dark alley. If it did happen in the daytime, they will see it, including Mary Jane. She will know.
Yeah, and I wonder if behind the scenes the reason it was shot like that without his mask, I wonder if it was because of, was there difficulties with doing a rainy scene with the mask on? I'm just wondering there.
Possibly.
Mm-hmm. If you're watching this, Sam Raimi, hey, give me a comment there. Let me know what you had going on there. I'm just not dogging you out or nothing for it. I'm just curious, Yeah, at least he did keep his face hidden there. And then of course the upside down kiss.
The trademark scene.
Yeah, I would do it, but that fan up there wouldn't support me. Yeah.
It will just fall down on you.
Yeah. So, next day, Spider-Man rescues a baby from a burning building, and Green Goblin shows up to try to get him to join him again, but Spider-Man declines, thus leading to another fight, and ends up hurting Spider-Man's arm really badly. This causes Norman, as the Goblin, to discover his secret identity at Thanksgiving dinner.
Ooh.
How did you cut Bike Messenger? Knock me down.
I think he started to put two and two together in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he left so quick.
Yeah. And then, of course, he gave poor Aunt May a serious PTSD during her Lord's Prayer.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm. Finish it! Finish it! From evil! Yep. And the only thing Aunt May could say was those horrible yellow eyes.
Ooh.
Yep.
I know you'll be terrified if your grandmother was in this position like Aunt May was.
Terrified and also angry at who's doing it to her there.
Ooh.
Yeah. He knows who I am. And of course, much later, he captures Mary Jane. Can Spider-Man come out to play? And he does the same thing in No Way Home. Can Spider-Man come out to play?
On a different tone.
So, and the scene with Mary Jane in danger is similar to Gwen Stacy in the comics. How they tried to do this with Andrew Garfield, but it didn't quite play out too well. But this is actually how the Gwen Stacy death should have been done if they had went through with, the death there. Of course, they didn't. However, they did do something like this in the cartoon where Green Goblin was dangling Mary Jane. And in the cartoon, of course, she disappeared in a portal. And Mary Jane! You'll pay, Osborn! So, of course, Spider-Man does manage to save Mary Jane and also a thing of kids, thanks to some help from some New Yorkers throwing stuff at Green Goblin like the Apollo.
Like, boo. You mess with New York, you mess with all of us.
Exactly.
Let's just say these New Yorkers are prepared. They're prepared for a fight.
Oh yeah, they don't mess with New York. They don't mess with Spider-Man in New York.
You don't mess with New Yorkers as a whole. They do have some fight in them.
Yep. And then, of course, after saving them, Green Goblin and Spider-Man have their final fight, which Spider-Man really gets kind of brutal, especially when he mentions about MJ and I are gonna have a heck of a time. Of course, he says the other word, but you know. Yeah. Yeah, I thought he said censors. Like this. So, yeah, Norman tries to come out like, what? The Goblin made me do it. I didn't have anything to do with it. You gotta help me, Pete. God bless you, Pete. Be like a son to me. I'm like a father to you. I have a father. His name was Ben Parker. Sort of like Robin when Slade was like, I'll be like a father to you. I already have a father. Godspeed, Spider-Man. And the spider sense kicks in, makes him dodge the glider, and right in the no-shine area.
Yeah, and in an uncomfortable spot.
Let's just, as Deadpool would say, right up Main Street.
Yes.
Except unlike Deadpool, he does not walk away from this.
He just dies.
Don't tell Harry. Yeah, and they actually have replicated the same, something similar to this, even in the cartoon. They didn't actually, like the blade or anything, but the glider did knock Green Goblin into a portal, though.
Oh yeah, in the anime series.
Right, they did, and in the comics, Sam Raimi nailed the comic there. That's exactly what happened. Only difference was in the comic, Spider-Man went to an apartment and faced Green Goblin, and the blade thing happened. Yep.
I think they changed the death of Green Goblin into a portal for the anime series because they don't want to scare the kids.
Something,
especially the young kids.
Yeah, certain censors. Yeah.
Yes. I guess that portal led him to another dimension.
Yeah, they did that quite a bit in the cartoon.
Yeah, even though they might be still alive in that other dimension.
And in Yu-Gi-Oh, it becomes the Shadow Realm. You'll be sent to the Shadow Realm. And I really wish Peter had told Harry what happened when he brought Norman back home.
Instead of Harry making the assumption that Spider-Man killed him.
Yeah, that is a bit of a constructive criticism, even for me. But I kind of, thinking of it really, maybe he kind of freaked out when Harry showed up. And yeah, maybe he got scared to tell him. Because remember, he didn't tell Aunt May about what really happened with the wrestling thing until the second movie. So, yeah, yes, maybe, sometimes telling the truth can be difficult, just saying. It's not always easy to do.
It's not easy to tell the truth to anyone.
Yep, it's what you're supposed to do, but guarantee it's not always easy.
Plus, the truth can hurt. It can hurt you as well as the person you are telling to. Mm-hmm. But as time goes on, it will be forgiven. As time goes on, it all depends on how the person feels about it. Will they take forgiveness? Will they forgive you or not?
Hopefully they would there. So, because of this, Harry vows revenge on Spider-Man, which will lead into the sequel, of course, thinking that he killed Norman. And because of the danger and losing people, Peter feels that him and MJ can't be together because he doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want something to happen to MJ, like with the bridge scene there.
Or any situation.
Yep. Who is he? He's Spider-Man. Dun, 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 dun. and web slings into the ending. So yeah, so that is the first live action Spider-Man. Thanks to Sam Raimi for bringing it to us there. Well done. Well done with the movie. Love the Hallmark feel. That's I just, like I say, it's an enjoyable movie, and I feel like it's a movie. If I were to turn on the Hallmark channel, I would see it pop up. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see, so that's all I got to say on it there. You got anything else there?
Well, the first Spider-Man movie before the MCU is almost like it came from the Marvel Renaissance era, like the Disney has a Renaissance era with all the classic films.
Oh yeah,
before they were updated.
Like Blade and X-Men and all that.
Yeah, the Marvel Renaissance before the MCU.
And some people have theorized about the movies before the MCU being a pre-MCU.
Yeah,
somewhat.
I know Marvel had some bad movies before Spider-Man and the X-Men, like the Sorry Captain America back in the 90s.
Oh, I forgot to mention that one.
Yeah, the sorry one.
Yeah, the one that looked like a knockoff Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. It was so sorry that it's hard to find.
Probably for good reason. They probably don't want people to find it.
I don't know if it's on Disney Plus.
Well, we could check, but they might, if depending on how embarrassed Marvel is about it, they might not have it there.
I guess when you type Captain America in search results in the 1990s one, it might read the Captain America, the First Avenger, and other Captain America movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the search results. Yeah,
and if it does show up, Drax probably gonna laugh at them like Star-Lord. You must be. He just pulled up your darkest secret. You must be so embarrassed. Do me.
Well, Aunt May and Uncle Ben, let's just say they were both humble people.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I say think of my grand Big Papa there.
Yeah, they were both humble as well as easygoing. As well as respectful to each other.
Yep, definitely had that classic charm to them there.
Yeah, I know they were married for over 50 years. And that was quite a long time.
Kind of the milestone of marriage there.
Yes. It proves to show you that her Aunt May does love Uncle Ben so much. Even until his death, she still loves him.
Yep.
And kept memories of him.
Yep. Good old Aunt May and Uncle Ben.
Yeah. And I know Mary Jane is also humble too. Also humble, but not too much of a fighter compared to the one in the Handmaid's version.
Yeah, there was.
But it would have been nice if she was a fighter.
There was, some people. That's why some people were liking more of Gwen and Michelle from the other movies. But yeah, for what it was, I mean, like I say, she was decent there. And yeah, I guess one thing about it, Sam Raimi's writing, he probably was. Maybe that was the perspective he got of her there.
Would have been nice if we see Mary Jane defend herself to her father, to her abusive father, after she had enough of his abuse towards her. Just defend herself. That say, I had enough.
Yeah, she did. She did in her flashback. She did there.
Oh yeah, the anime version.
Right. Yeah, stood up to Mordo. Yeah. 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 But for what it's worth, still a really good film. Definitely got to check out the old classic and get the old classics for your Marvel collection. You have your MCU, but then you also have where it started from, the Renaissance of roots.
Yes, And the first Peter Parker is the best one, the original.
Yep, and then teamed up with Andrew and Tom Holland in the MCU.
Yeah, and I don't have no problem with the one from the Amazing Spider-Man, the current one.
Yeah.
I don't have no problem.
Oh yeah, and No Way Home really highlights why all three of them are worthy of the Spider-Man title.
Yes.
Yeah, that was one good thing they really showed, that as they interacted and shared stuff with each other. Even with Andrew, and they even sort of pepped each other up a bit, not just pepping Tom up from what he was going through, but even each other.
It's like you got 3 different Spider-Mans from 3 different timelines, past, present, and future.
Mm-hmm.
Tobey Maguire represent the past, Andrew Garfield the present, and Tom Holland the future.
Yeah, sort of made me imagine them, which I think I posted this once. Imagine those 3 Spider-Men as Yugi, Jaden, and Yusei in Bonds Beyond Time. Yeah.
And we get them in 3 different decades.
Oh, yeah.
Early 2000s, 2010 era, and the late 2010 era going on to 2020 era.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the adventure will be continuing with whatever they come out with next in the MCU. Since Spider-Man is on a new journey, adult life, yeah. So, there's going to be that in there. Yep, but until then, definitely start from the beginning and enjoy all the classics there. Yep, you know where it comes from, and you definitely, now with No Way Home coming out, definitely more encouraging to enjoy both Sam Raimi and Mark Webb's work. Yep. Because No Way Home is going to bring them together. Yep. Got anything else there?
Mainly it's just a heartwarming movie.
Oh, yeah.
So heartwarming, could pass off as romantic.
Definitely Hallmark.
That's it.
Hallmark or even Lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah.
More women might enjoy it.
That's a possibility, because we had women that enjoyed the Young Justice animated series.
That's it.
Yeah. And then DC Comics got mad because but no, the women, they're not going to buy toys like the boys would. We got to, move Young Justice and bring Teen Titans Go.
Really?
This is why we got Teen Titans Go, because of freaking merchandise, and they got mad that most of the viewers for Young Justice were ladies. What's the problem? Oh boy. So, yeah, I guess that,
yeah, that wraps it up.
Okay, yeah. So, alright, so, hope you guys enjoyed this, review of the movie. Hope it makes you want to go check it out again, along with the other movies, and, prep yourself up for No Way Home. And I wish I could say that we were gonna do all the Spider-Man movies, before No Way Home comes out, but that ain't gonna happen. Trust me, it ain't gonna happen. So No Way Home is gonna come out. We're probably, by the time we get to reviewing the second Spider-Man movie, yeah, but we're not doing back to back like we did with Nutty Professor or the Looney Tunes movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just saying, don't expect us to be able to beat the Blu-ray thing. So. Yeah, but definitely, on your own time, definitely prep yourself up on those Spider-Man movies and bring it all home with the Blu-ray. Because you guys got access to just view them, Blu-ray, DVD, Disney Plus, all that good stuff. And make sure you like, subscribe, share this with your friends. Definitely buy some of our available comics. We'll be working on a comic starting now into next month. Bubblina 5. And don't forget to also support us on Patreon, even if it's just a little $1 a month. $1 or more? Hey, definitely hop on over and show your support. Until then, we'll see you later. And if you'll excuse me, I gotta go I gotta go prepare. Before I get into the comic, I gotta prepare to have a good birthday. Happy birthday to me.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.